everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and this is the Astral Library. And we're coming at you with the long-awaited book haul from both December and my birthday. And you can't see it because it's off camera, but I have 3 bags down here and a giant stack right here and another teeny tiny semi-stack sort of off to the side. I may have done a bit of damage, but that's okay because, say it with me, it's my money. I can do what I want with it. And I like to spend my money on books. Some of these I did not buy. Some of these I had gift cards. Some of these are from used bookstores. Some of them are gifts from people, but all in all, I did acquire quite a few books. We're gonna keep a counter up in the top corner over here somewhere so you can shame me, but it's all in fun. Let's see what I got. I'm not gonna go over what each of the books are about because that would be insane. I might talk about like why I picked them up if it is something I grabbed myself. Otherwise, we're just gonna go through them and admire the pretty covers because there's some great covers in here. We're gonna admire all the great stuff people have given me and all that jazz. So let's go ahead and dive straight in. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the small stack right here. And very first up, we have Blood in the Root by Ladrian Williams. I don't know quite how you say it. So there's a funny story behind this book. I originally bought this for a friend for Christmas, but he already had it. So we did a book exchange where I bought him another book and he gave this to me because I have not actually read this myself. So now I have Blood at the Root in my collection. Let's scoot you a little closer. Hi, how are you? The next book I got is Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This was a gift I got in a book exchange in a Discord I'm on, and it was all lovely. It was my first time really talking and interacting with these people, but the book exchange was fun, and I did read this one already, and it was so good. I need to get the rest of the series because I want to know what happens. I'm so invested. This was so much fun. It's just a good time. It's not a deep time, but it's a good time. The next book I actually acquired is The House of Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. This is a book I was gifted, not necessarily to read, but because it is a bridal party invite. My friend is getting married at the House of Seven Gables later this year, and I'm so excited, and she decided to ask people to be her bridesmaids with the book, and it's so cute. I would show you the message, but it's, you know, personal. So I now own a copy of this and it will stay in my collection forever and ever. The next book I got was Long Live Evil by Sarah Rees Brennan. This was gifted to me by my friend Cindy. We give a book to each other every year along with like a whole bunch of snacks. She said this was her favorite book from last year, so she wants me to read it, and you know what? I'm down. I hear it's really funny. I keep seeing it pop up over and over again now in the bookstore, so I'm glad that I have this in my hands. And it's very like floppy paperback, and look at that foiling. It's so pretty. Next up, I have The Murderbot Diaries Book 1. This is All Systems Red by Martha Wells. This is the beginning of my collection for The Murderbot Diaries. I don't know if I'm going to continue to buy them individually, if I'm gonna buy just the box set of hardcovers, but I will be buying them all. You will be seeing this series in my collection because I've loved every single book that I've read so far, and I've only read them through the library, so I don't own any. So I'm so glad to finally have a copy in my hand to show people how much I love this book. Speaking of that, the next one I have is When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. I've talked about this book ad nauseum lately. It was one of my favorite reads of 2024, and I of course had to get a copy for my own collection. Moving on to some more graphic novels, I got Spinning by Tilly Walden. This is the last book I need to have read every single Tilly Walden book, so I'm finally glad to have my hands on it. This one's more autobiographical about her, I believe, like changing from ballet to art, and I'm here for it. I love Tilly Walden's storytelling and I love her art, and the fact that I was just one away from reading her entire backlog, it needed to happen. So now I have them. I don't own them all. I think the only ones I'm missing is the Clementine series she did, but I'm glad to own this one. I also have The Last Session, Volume 1 by Jasmine Walls, and Doozer Draws is the artist. It is a graphic novel about D&D. I also talked about this one ad nauseum last year and how much I loved it, and I now again own it for my collection. I'm so happy it is mine forever, and I really hope that there's going to be a continuation of this because I loved it so much. Next two I'm going to talk about together. I got volumes 2 and 3 of Guardian by Priest. These are the last 2 volumes in the Guardian series. My friend gifted them to me for Christmas because I told them that I wanted the next one, and they said I can't just get you one, so you can have the finished last 2, and I'm here for it because like 1, They're so pretty. And two, I'm so glad I can now have the completed series to devour after I finish Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation, which also has 2 books left. This is why I'm not allowed to buy more Danmei right now. Speaking of Danmei, I have already read these, but Heaven Official's Blessing, which is my favorite Danmei series of all time, is releasing hardbacks. And your girl got them because look at them. How could I, like, come on. I couldn't not. And like it continues on the fronts and the I need to get the pretty foiling. Like, you see the foiling going on? It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. You want me to pass that up? No. I have the third one pre-ordered too. I'm gonna buy all 10. You can best believe your behind that I am. And I'm not gonna feel bad about it. Okay, the next books I actually grabbed on vacation in Joshua Tree. I think that there was a clip in my last vlog about me finding that like really old bookstore. It's actually been there for 30 years. But I did pick up some books while I was there too. I got Cirque du Freak book 2, which is Vampire's Assistant, or is this book 1? No, this is book 2. And this is by Darren Shan. Darren Shan was like the author I loved as a kid. I loved the Cirque du Freak series. I love the Cirque du Freak series and its prequel series, Laurent. I ate them up so much. And so I've always wanted to collect them, but I've never been able to like find them out in the wild until I saw this, and in hardcover. I had to get it. And if you want to know what that cute little bookstore was called, it was called Raven's Books. It's super duper cute. It's packed to the fucking brim of books. Like, you can go in there and get lost for hours. There's a little pathway that's insane. Also at that bookstore, I grabbed one of the books in the True Blood series. I don't know what number this is exactly. It's called Dead in the Family. I'm trying to collect all the True Blood series so I can read them, and I'm trying to get them in hardback because I really hate mass market paperback. They're just like really stiff and like too chunky to read. So I want to get them all used and get them in hardback. So that's why I've been collecting them. I think I'm up to like 3 now, maybe 4. I think I'm at 3. And the very last thing I got at that bookstore was a Patricia Collins book. I got Cruel and Unusual. This is another series I'm collecting. This is part of like her Scarpetta series, I believe. It's Patricia Collins. My mom was obsessed with Patricia Collins back in the day, and she still is, but I've never read them, and she's said over and over again how much she thinks I'll love them. So I'm collecting these when I find them really cheap at used bookstores because they're gonna be my series to read after I finish the Sue Grafton Alphabet series. And the last sort of stack I have is I found originally a still wrapped in plastics deluxe edition set of the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, or the Millennium series by Stieg Larsson. This is the original core series with some unpublished essays, I believe, by the original author. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is one of my favorite books ever, and I love the Millennium series, particularly the second book, The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. Oh my god. Thrived in that book, and then the third book, the entire series was so good. It was so good, and the movie with Daniel Craig and Ronnie something, I forget her name. She did a great Lisbeth. I love them. And so when I saw this, $35, completely unopened. I just got my makeup a little bit on it. It's fine. I had to snag it for myself just so I can have another really pretty edition and great condition of hardbacks for my collection. Okay, now it is time to tackle bag 1. Let's start with this bag. So this is from Book Off. In here we have, I think, a mixture of bought books and used books. I don't know. I mix them all up because I've taken them out a couple times. So this one's actually used. It is Blade Breaker by Victoria Aveyard. This is the second book in the Realm Breaker series. Is that what it's called? Have I read the first one? No, but I've also picked up the first one used in hardback, and this was also a really good deal. So I was like, you know what? Let's grab them. I loved the Red Queen growing up, and I've been really excited to try to read her adult series. I'm here for this. I'm glad that I have them. I might wait till, I think there's gonna be another one. So I might try to wait till the series is finished, because what was detrimental to me in the Red Queen series is that it took too long for the last book to come out and I lost interest. So I know it's just better for me to read them start to finish. The next book I picked up is a copy of Gemina in hardback. So I own the series in paperback, but I've been trying to collect them in hardback in used editions because I prefer hardback. And I just think the hardbacks are so cover, especially with these like translucent covers, that that kind of like have these like really cool like printed hardbacks. I think they're so amazing, and I really wanted to have them in hardback, but I didn't necessarily want to like buy them new, if that makes sense. So if I find them out in the wild, I'm really excited and I snatch them up. This is the second one I have now. I have both Illumine Files and now Gemna, so all I need is Obsidio. I think all these books in here are used. I don't think these got switched up. I have V is for Vengeance by Sue Grafton. So I already own this book, but I'm trying to get all my Sue Graftons to be in the proper sized hardback. So V is one of the few I have in the mass market paperbacks. So this was a steal of find. It's been forever since I've found a good used copy of Sue Grafton out in the wild. Again, for $1. That I could not let it pass me by. I had to get it. It had to be mine because I've been hunting for them for so long. And I'm only allowed to like get them if they are either $1 or a really like decent price. These books have been out for so long that I don't necessarily need to be spending like big money on them. So it's just it's a side quest that I'm currently on, as well as, you know, reading them. Speaking of that, I did find another Sue Grafton, I is for Innocent. I've been hunting for these forever. I do not care if they are the same like cover because this one is very different from this one. Tend to have both. I think I have more of these ones than I do these ones, but I really don't care. As long as they're the same size hardback, I could care less if their spines line up. Only for this particular series, if it's something I'm buying new, I will mind a lot more. But for something used and old, no. And then another book I found was Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. So I've been hearing a lot about this book, and I've been seeing a lot of clips of the Apple TV show or Amazon show, and it's been really intriguing me. So much so that I've wanted to watch it, but I figured it would be better if I read the book before I watched it. And so that's why I was super happy to find this out in the wild, because I've been wanting to read it for a while. And I was debating if I wanted to get it from the library, if I wanted to buy it new, and then lo and behold, I found it used for $5.50. So a steal. Speaking of, here's the next True Blood book I found, which is Dead Ever After. Again, I have no idea what number this is, but it is the same size hardback as the other one. Oh, and it's got a little pretty illustration in there. Look at that. I didn't even notice it. I just grabbed it and made sure I didn't have it. Okay, this next book was my best find ever. I went out hoping I would find this book, but like knowing in my heart of heart I wasn't going to be able to find it because it's just been out for so long. I wanted it in the hardback edition specifically to match my other, and I was like, I'm not going to find it, but I did. It's a beautiful, foolish endeavor by Hank Green, the sequel to an absolutely remarkable thing, and I'm so excited because I want to know what happens in the series so bad. This is the second book and the final book, and oh my god, I am so excited to get to this. I haven't been able to because it's been out of sight, out of mind, being packed away, but it's in a great condition as well. It's hardly dinged up, and it's again in that hardback, and I got it for $7.50, which I was gonna have to pay more if I bought it new. And again, I'm so super duper excited that I found this. This is my best find by far. The noise I made when I saw this, she's like, Emily, you need to come to the store more often because you always find your good books here. And she's just right, because I wanted this one so bad, and I gave up hope that I was actually gonna find it. Okay, 2 more books in this bag. Second to last one is a manga. This is Anonymous Noise by Ryoko Fukuyama. So the thing about me and manga, I read a lot of manga. I love manga. I've been a manga person for years. I don't like to collect manga because manga takes up a lot of space, like a lot of space. Like you see how tiny these volumes are, and shorter series will have 10, 15 volumes. For one series, that's 10 to 15 books that I have to somehow store away. And while yes, they're tiny and a lot of people double shelve them or like tier shelve them, it's still just a lot to kind of like keep track of and to like have the space for when I'm also collecting other books that aren't manga that tend to take up equally as much space for just one volume. I've always hemmed and hawed what I should do because there's certain series that I really love that I want to own, but I know realistically I will never have the space to collect all of them. So I've made the compromise of I'm going to collect the first volume of some of my favorite series ever, and only the series that have really special editions that don't out of crazy length I will buy in full. So for example, I'm going to buy the Full Metal Alchemist series in the Full Metal editions, and I want to buy the the Soul Eater Perfect Moon editions, or Perfect Editions, I think they're called. Those are both gorgeous. I'll throw them up on screen. So those are some of the series I will buy outright. Everything else, and you'll see I bought a couple more, I'm just going to buy the first volume of so I can have them in display for people to see that I really do love them without having to necessarily collect the whole series myself. And last book in this bag is Replica by Lauren Oliver. So this is the really interesting book that you can read this way or this way. And it has two perspectives that you can read multiple ways. You can read it just backwards first, or you can flip it over and read this way first, or you can flip back and forth for every chapter. Lauren Oliver is such an interesting and intriguing writer because she just knows how to really play something up. She wrote Before I Fall, and I love that book, and I love the way she kind of like plays with teenagers, and I just love the way she handled like the YA genre. And I've seen this book before. I've always been intrigued by it, but I've never picked it up myself. But when I saw it in hardback and I found it for like a relatively good price, I was like, you know what? Now's the time. I'm gonna do it. I don't know which way I'm gonna read it. If you have suggestions for how you read this, if you've read this, let me know. I've heard that there's no wrong way to read this, so we'll see what I end up doing when I get to this, but I'm very excited. So that was all the used books I got, mainly from Book Off. Those over there. And now comes the Barnes & Noble's trips. Okay, let's do this bag first. So the next book I got was actually a gift. It is the Hunger Games Illustrated Edition by Suzanne Collin and illustrated by Nico Delort. I've never actually read the Hunger Games. Just you know, fun fact. But I really love these like illustrated editions, like especially the series We Shall Not Name. Those ones are gorgeous, but we fucking hate her. So I don't want to buy them, but I really love them, and I have the Aragon one too. And so I'd put this on my list for Christmas / my birthday, and my mom ended up picking it out because she's read the Hunger Games and she loved them. So I just knew it was a great way, and maybe this is how I'm going to eventually read this book because there are great illustrations. They're in black and white, which I think is really interesting, but we also have this like beautiful red cover, like red sunsetty orange, and these pretty end pages. And I think, yeah, the cover is also a printed foiled hardback, and I'm happy that I have it in my collection. So the next books I'm going to talk about are part of a series. They go together. It's books 1 and 2, and it is, I don't know what's the order. It is The Curse of Sins and The Curse of Saints by Kate Ramis. This sounded really cute. I was just looking at one, but then it was a buy one, get one 50% off. And I said, what if I just grabbed another one? And did this also count? No, did not. But that was the logic. I was like, if I'm gonna grab this anyways, I'm gonna grab another one. And so I got both of a series I haven't read, but sounded really interesting and look even cooler. And they're pretty like decent length. I love fantasy romance, but I'm not loving the current wave of romantasy being published. I feel like it is oftentimes too much romance, not enough fantasy, which goes with the genre romantasy. But I need the fantasy, I need the world and the plot to keep me going. The romance only gets me so far, which is why I'm not a romance reader. These books look like they have enough like thickness to them, especially Curse of Sins, to get me something interesting, something to go on. So I'm hopeful that these books are going to be good. Should I have bought both of them for a series I haven't read? Probably not. The next one I got is House of Frank by Kay Sinclair. So this is a book that I've heard a lot on TikTok because I follow Easy Cat, who is the print runner for the book, and this is their first run. And I've heard a lot of great things about it. I actually bought this book as a gift for Cindy in our book exchange. But when I was out shopping for my birthday, I couldn't help but pick it up for myself so I could read it. And I hear it makes you cry. I hear it's gay and sweet, and I'm here for it. I think it's like a little TJ Clooney vibes, and if that's the case, I'm going to cry so hard. The next two I'm also going to talk about in a pair, even though they're not part of a series, but they were part of a gift, and I had a whole theme for my birthday from my friend Sarah. It was vampires, so she gave me Fangs by Sarah Anderson and Carmilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. So these books are both vampire stories. This one is a graphic novel series about a vampire and her werewolf boyfriend, which I've seen snippets of the art on like Instagram, Tumblr, stuff like that, and I've always really wanted it, but I've never picked it up for myself. So she finally got it for me, and it just, tell me that's not me. Tell me this like aesthetic, this like black pages Gorgeous red isn't me to a T. And then Carmilla also fits with the black and red theme. It's so shiny, and it's like the original vampire story before Dracula. And I've never read it. There's another one actually in here, but it's in the other bag, so we'll have to wait for that. Continuing on with the black and red theme, by accident, I did also get Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I really wanted to read this book. It's dark academia, not vampires. There's another one that's vampires in here somewhere. I'm very much more interested in this one because I recently read The Sword of Kaigen, and M.L. Wong's writing in that was super duper interesting. So I'm curious to see how I'm going to like this one. And I'm glad I picked this up when I did because it's no longer being like in print and like hardback in like Barnes and Nobles and stuff. So I got the pretty red sprayed edges edition, and I think it's got like pretty end pages. I don't know if there's anything printed on the hardback itself. No, it's just a plain hardback. I'm happy enough with this. I think this is cute, especially for a book, for an author I've only read one book of, so I'm excited to dive into another book. I don't know if you remember my vlog, the last vlog of 2024, but I was reading The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Karek, and I had reached a dilemma. I owned the second book in that series, but I didn't own the third, and I was unsure if I should buy the third because my Broken Binding subscription just finished up their latest series, and their next series is the M.A. Karek series. And I didn't know if I should buy it or if I should just wait and read it when I get the special edition. I bought it, called Labyrinth's Heart. It's the third and final book in the Rick and Rose series. I guess I'll just own 2 copies, and if it's amazing, I'll at least have these paperback versions to read, so I'm not worried about like messing up my really pretty editions, even though I'm not precious about my pretty editions. Who knows? Maybe I'll eventually unhaul these. Maybe I'll keep both. We will have to see, but I did in fact get it, so I can now finish out that series whenever I so choose. The next book I got was The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. I've heard a lot about Danielle L. Jensen recently, particularly she's did A Fate Inked in Blood that's been like really popular, but I've been hesitant to buy it because it's been part of that new romantasy trend. Versus this is one of her older series, so I think tends to go more onto that fantasy romance side where we get a little bit more plot and world structure than I believe Fate Inked in Blood. That's just like my current understanding. If I'm wrong, leave it in the comments down below, but that's what I've gotten. I wanted to try The Bridge Kingdom because I think this might be more my speed than Fate Inked in Blood. And I believe Becca in the Books read this book and really liked it. So I'm curious, and especially because Danielle L. Jensen just did these like really pretty reprints of the covers, so we got like this nice foiling. So I'm curious to see how I like this and if it definitely kind of fits my fantasy romance over romantasy. We're going into another speed run of volume 1 of comics / mangas, or in this case manhwas that I really like that I wanted to own myself. So we have Villains Are Destined to Die by Seoul, which the original story is actually by Gwan Gyo-ul. Again, I'm sorry for my pronunciation. I love this series. It's so good. It's a little dark, but the premise is so interesting because we're following the girl who's a villainess, and she's like actual stuck in a like Otome game, and she like sees the buttons and she's trying to make sure she survives, and everyone's so fucking twisted, but the romance that comes out of this is great, which is going to be a running theme in the ones that show up here, because the next one that I also had to have for myself is Who Made Me a Princess by illustrations by Spoon, stories by Plutus, another manhwa series that I absolutely adore, that I needed in my collection. To top it all off, this one, I love all of them so much. This one is my favorite. This one, I think if I could buy the entire series of any of them, this would be it. And that is A Stepmother's Marchen, or sometimes referred to A Stepmother's Fantasy. I could not describe to you how good this book is. It's so well thought out and methodical with like how it deals with its characters. It does the best thing. So I'm actually gonna tell you the premise of this one. We're following our main character, Shuri, who was married into this really rich family when she was only like 14, 15 years old. And this guy's like a lot older, like could be her dad, granddad older, right? And the only reason he married her is to give him a buffer for when he dies and until his son is able to take over. But you know, when your father marries a 14-year-old, you're kind of not happy. And so all the children fucking hate her and treat her really, really bad. But she sucks it up and she continues to run this family until she's, I don't know, maybe in her mid-20s, maybe early 30s. And the son is finally about to marry and take over as being the head of the family. she's like, I just want to see your wedding. And then he fucking kicks her out, right? And so she's like, all right, cool, bye. And she goes to leave and her carriage crashes and she dies. And then she wakes up in the past. And now she essentially has a chance to redo her life, to fix the relationship with the children, as well as to fix the mistakes that she made when she was still really young and didn't understand really how to run a family. This series, oh my God, I've cried, I've screamed, I've clutched my pearls, everything about it's so good. And what I really, really liked is that even though we jump forward into like the current timeline of where she's at, in like the interim between seasons 1 and seasons 2, we got to like look back at like what happened in the original timeline after she died, and oh my god, the twist, the emotions I felt. I go back and I reread that section all the time. We're currently at another season's break and I love this one. This one might be one of the ones I break the rule and I collect the entire series, but we're starting with just this one for now. The end of bag 1. And now on to the last bag. Oh, we might do this in one battery. Hell yeah. Okay, we're gonna start with the book on the side because that'll make my life easier. The next book I got is Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1 by James Tinian IV and a couple other people whose names I don't want to butcher, so I'm not gonna, those people, they did it. I've been having my eye on the series for a while, so now I'm glad to like have volume 1 to dip my toes into it, so I can give this a shot before I buy the collector's edition, which is a little bit more money, has more than just volume 1 in it. But if it's really good, I'm going to be spending the money on the deluxe editions, because you know me, I like my comics to be thicker and hardback when I own them. These bags are packed too damn tight. I bought too many damn books. Next book I got was Mistress of Lies by K.M. Enright. This was, I think, one of the last books I picked up for myself during my book haul. I think it actually was like the day of my birthday where I went out one final time to exchange a book and to another couple books because I'm a monster. And this one was really intriguing to me, first because of its cover. Like it screamed woman rage and woman revenge. And the tagline on the back says, a villainous heroine. You know me, I love a bad bitch, and she looks like she's a bad bitch. I'm here for this. I think there's Polly in this, if I remember hearing the internet correctly. And if it's the book I'm thinking of, that might be a Ravenous Hunger. That might be that one. This might not be this one. I'm still intrigued. I will still give this a shot, especially because I like grimdark fantasy, and this kind of looks like it's gonna be towards that. And since it was my birthday, I treated myself to the third and final book of the Farseal trilogy in the illustrated edition. So this is Assassin's Quest by Robin Hobb. It's the last one I needed to complete my collection in these editions, and so I could speed run the first series in this universe, which is going to take me many, many years to do. And it's going to break my heart, apparently, because Fitz is going to break my heart over and over again. I'm ready for it. It's going to be so good. Everyone says it's so good. I'm excited. But I remember what book 1 did. You remember what I did to book 1. I'm happy to have it. I'm glad that the first series is going to be in these like really pretty hardback editions, because one, they have a bookmark in them too, somewhere. Oh, does this one have a bookmark? That's rude. The other ones do. Yes, I finally have it. I'm excited to read it. Up next, I got An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson. This is a book that recently came out. It's dark academia. It sounds fun. I love dark academia as an aesthetic. Books are hit or miss for me just because, one, sometimes it's a little too close to like my actual academia life and I don't want to read about it. Other times it gets a little on the pretentious side, which academia. So we'll see if I end up enjoying this one. But I am intrigued. I will always pick it up and try it. And because it was my birthday, this is the time to try all the things that even if I have an inkling about that I'm going to grab. So I did. Now this book I picked up because everyone and their mother was reading it and said it was so good and it was so much fun, and I had FOMO, and that is Dungeon Crawlers by Matt Dinniman, maybe? Everyone was reading this book and everyone said it's a lot of fun, it's silly, it's adventurous, and it's a really fast read. And you know what? I need fun and fast and silly, especially because this is like a YouTuber streamer type of situation where you're like streaming, like going through a dungeon for your life. Literally everyone who's read this has had a good time that I wanted to also have a good time. So I picked this up, and it was like one of the few hardback editions left, and I'm excited because now I own it, and it's actually a really pretty cover. I love the black and yellow, and I love like the spots of hot pink. I think it just works so well. Up next, I got Immortal Dark by Tigis Germa? Again, if I mispronounce it, I'm sorry. But this is my vampire one. This is the one I keep mixing up the plot with Blood Over Brighthaven because they have a similar kind of like motif. Black, empty black, middle figure, red text. This is the vampires. This is the black vampires. And I hunted for this edition because I wanted the pretty sprayed edges with the quote, and I believe it's got a really pretty printed naked cover as well. I wanted it, I hunted for it, and I got it. And I'm happy, and I will read it because I love vampires so much. My favorite mythical creature ever. And we're almost done with this stack. We got 3 more, including the one in my hand. So I got Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I believe this is Ava Reid's latest release. I've wanted to read an Ava Reid book for a while, and I hemmed and hawed which one to choose because they tend to write a lot of different genres. I decided to go with Lady Macbeth because, one, I kind of like Macbeth. As much as I hate Shakespeare, I really like Macbeth, and I love Hamlet. So I decided, you know, let's try this one. Lady Macbeth is a fucking amazing, badass, like, protagonist villain. So I'm curious to see what Ava Reid does with that. And this cover's just, like, so striking. And it's fantastical. So I'm really curious to see how all of those elements are going to mix and how much you have to, like, know the source material or engage with the source material to, like, get everything from this. Second to last book we got was Under the Oak Tree, the comic. So this is the deluxe edition. Again, it's a series that I really like. I can't show you the inside of these because there's some spiciness in this one, and I don't want to get flagged on YouTube for showing you nudity. I wanted to have this one. Originally I accidentally bought the deluxe edition of the novel itself, which looks very much like this version. So that's why I had to go back on my birthday to actually return it and go purchase this one. But I'm glad I did because now I have this one. I enjoy this series. I don't think I'm going to continue with it after it comes back from its new season. I really liked it, but I think I'm gonna wait for more seasons to build up so I can read it to its conclusion. Okay, and very last book, which is great because my battery's about to die, is another gift from my little vampire haul, and that is Dracula. Specifically, this is the one that is illustrated by Edward Gorey, and I've wanted this edition forever because this is like a velvet, and it's got these like bats along the edges, and it's so cute. And it like has these like beautiful illustrations of like the windows, and just everything about this edition is stunning. Fun fact, I actually bought this edition for a friend for her birthday, yet to buy it for myself despite the fact that I keep saying how much I want it. So she actually bought it for me for my birthday, so it was very sweet, and I'm very excited, and I'm so happy to own it. This makes it my 4th edition of Dracula. It's okay, I've read it now, so I can say that it's worth it, and I do actually enjoy the novel itself. I'm happy to own another really pretty edition of Dracula. All right, but that is my book haul. We have the final count here. I don't know what it is currently because that's editor Emily's job, but I'm sure it's a big number. I did damage to my wallet, and it's a little mad at me, but it's okay because it was my birthday, and I didn't buy all of these, and people were really generous, gave me gift cards and stuff. So thank you all for watching this video. If you saw one of these books that you've read that you want me to read sooner, that you want to share your opinions about, go ahead and leave me a comment down below. Let me know which one should I prioritize, because you know they're all shiny and new and I want to read them all. So like if you just nudge me in a certain direction, I just might follow your little nudge and we could talk. That's gonna be it for me. If you like this video, consider leaving a thumbs up and a comment down below. Again, let me know if you've read anything. Let me know what great books you got in January or December. Let me know what books you're excited for coming out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!